Lenny Kravitz says Jason Momoa didn't just break Lisa Bonet's heart. He gaslit her for years, and the receipts are finally coming out in a small, invitation-only podcast taping. Lenny quietly dropped a claim no one expected to hear. That Jason Momoa, the charismatic action hero the world adores, had been gaslighting Lisa Bonet for years before their 2022 split. The host paused, nearly choking on his water. The crew stiffened. Lenny's voice never rose. He didn't slam his fist or name-call. He simply said, "It wasn't just distance or busy schedules. There was emotional manipulation. Lisa kept telling me, maybe I'm the problem." That's when I knew something was very wrong. Within hours, the snippet leaked, and social media ignited. Fans of Lisa and Jason were stunned, caught between disbelief and dread. Could Aquaman really have warped Lisa's reality? Or was Lenny protecting an ex-wife he still loves? Most people remember the Instagram era when everything looked perfect. Jason wrapping a massive arm around Lenny, captioning it "my brother." Paparazzi shots of the entire clan. Jason, Lisa, Zoe, Lola, Nakho Wolf, and Lenny lounging together in Hawaii. If there was friction, it was hidden under radiant smiles and boho outfits. But Lenny now insists that behind those radiant images was a subtler form of cruelty. Comments that downplayed Lisa's concerns, subtle revisions of shared memories, a steady drip-drip of "you're overreacting" whenever she voiced her loneliness. To clarify, Lenny didn't accuse Jason of shouting or slamming doors. The gaslighting, he said, was quieter, more insidious. Little remarks designed to nudge Lisa into self-doubt. "You know that feeling," he told the host, "when you start to question your own sanity because the other person keeps rewriting the past?" That's what I saw in her eyes. Some listeners asked why Lenny waited so long to speak. He admitted he'd wrestled with silence. Outing Jason's alleged behavior risked ripping the family apart. Yet watching Lisa second-guess herself felt unbearable. Meanwhile, insiders close to Jason call Lenny's claims exaggerated, pointing out that the actor was filming on location for months at a stretch and hardly home enough to perpetrate psychological warfare. Even so, Lenny maintains his stance. He recalls one dinner at Lisa's home during the last year of the marriage. Jason had just returned from a grueling shoot. Lisa, visibly anxious, asked him to spend the weekend unplugged with the kids. Jason laughed and said, "Babe, you're making drama where there is none. I've only been gone 6 weeks." Then, according to Lenny, Jason reminded her of a time she'd left Zoe behind for a film in the 90s, an incident Lisa insists never happened the way Jason described. She grew flustered, searching her memory, as if trying to confirm whether she had indeed been that neglectful. "That," Lenny said in the podcast, "was the first time I realized I was watching gaslighting happen in real time. Viewers, imagine witnessing that scene. Lisa Bonet, icon of calm, suddenly doubtful, eyes darting as she tries to rewrite her own history based on someone else's revision. Lenny claims he pulled her aside after dinner and reminded her of the real timeline. Lisa had shot a small indie film for 2 weeks. Zoe stayed with Lenny the entire time. No 6-week abandonment ever happened. She exhaled," Lenny said. "I watched the relief flood her face, like she'd just been rescued from a maze." The next day, Lisa allegedly apologized to Jason for overreacting, unaware that she'd just been manipulated into thinking her needs were unreasonable. Lenny told the podcast audience, "That's how gaslighting wins. It convinces you your pain is imaginary." Of course, fans demanded receipts. Lenny refused to play paparazzo but hinted at emails and texts Lisa had forwarded, seeking his perspective on Jason's claims. In several messages, Jason allegedly framed Lisa's loneliness as paranoia. "You knew what life with an actor meant," one text read. "You're just choosing to be unhappy." Lisa's reply, also shown to Lenny, asked for a weekend of uninterrupted family time. Jason's answer, "Why turn this into a guilt trip? Appreciate what we have." On the surface, those words aren't volcanic. Yet Lenny argues the subtext is corrosive, shifting blame, minimizing feelings, labeling normal needs for connection as drama. At this point in the leak's viral spiral, Jason's camp issued a carefully worded statement. Jason Momoa holds profound respect and love for Lisa Bonet. He categorically denies manipulating or gaslighting anyone. Their divorce was a mutual decision rooted in different life paths. But silence about specific anecdotes left room for speculation. Comment sections erupted. Some branded Lenny a jealous ex stirring chaos. Others said he was the only one courageous enough to name psychological abuse in Hollywood's most beloved family. Zoe Kravitz, usually reserved, liked an Instagram compilation of gaslighting warning signs the morning after Lenny's interview aired. She added no caption. Fans interpreted that click as tacit agreement. Hours later, paparazzi captured her walking with Lisa, arms intertwined, both wearing solemn expressions. No words were needed. The image alone hinted at solidarity against a narrative that had, until now, idolized Jason. It's crucial to define gaslighting in plain terms, because some viewers hear the word and assume screaming matches. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation where one partner makes the other doubt memories, perceptions, or sanity. It often appears mild. That's not how it happened, or you're overreacting. Over time, the victim internalizes confusion, slowly surrendering confidence in their own truth. Lenny emphasized that Lisa's spiritual nature and desire for harmony made her especially susceptible. She doesn't seek conflict, so every time Jason reframed an argument, she'd swallow her intuition to keep the peace. One friend, who asked to remain unnamed, told reporters that Lisa had started journaling obsessively, writing, "Am I too needy? Am I expecting too much?" Pages upon pages, classic fallout of long-term gaslighting. Now, skeptics counter that Jason publicly praised Lisa at every turn, calling her his goddess, and giving tearful tributes during award speeches. Lenny's answer: public adoration can coexist with private manipulation. Charm often disguises toxic patterns. Think of it like a stage set. The audience sees the gleaming facade. Only the stagehands know the wobbly beams behind it. Lenny says he knew because he was backstage. He'd received 2 a.m. calls from Lisa, her voice hushed so the kids wouldn't hear, asking, "Am I crazy? Did we agree Jason would be gone 4 weeks or 6? Lenny would check his calendar, confirm the longer absence, and Lisa would sigh, recognition flashing, followed by guilt for doubting herself in the first place. Critics also question Lenny's motives. Why go public now, over 2 years after the separation? Lenny answered that directly on the podcast. A recent magazine spread praised Jason's flawless co-parenting and called the split drama-free. Lisa's pain, he felt, was being erased. He says she tried to craft a respectful silence, but that silence allowed a whitewashed fairy tale to replace the harder truth, and he claims, enabled Jason to dodge accountability. Lenny stressed that he harbors no desire to cancel Jason's career. "I just want Lisa's reality validated," he said. "Gaslighting flourishes in silence. I couldn't keep quiet anymore." Behind the scenes, Lisa's circle appears relieved by Lenny's candor. One family friend told a journalist that Lisa had spent months debating whether to address the emotional manipulation publicly. Ultimately, she chose privacy until now, when Lenny has effectively done it for her. The friend insisted this wasn't about revenge. It was about ending a cycle of self-doubt. Lisa didn't need the world to hate Jason, the friend said, but she needed the world to stop assuming she just grew apart because of cosmic vibes. Meanwhile, Jason's allies argue that labeling every disagreement as gaslighting trivializes genuine abuse cases. Yet psychologists note that gaslighting rarely looks like full-blown shouting matches. Most abusers maintain plausible deniability. Small corrections, "I never said that," or "You're just insecure." Over time, victims catalog their own needs as irrational. If Lenny's accounts are even half accurate, Lisa's journal entries, phrases like, "Maybe my memory is broken," demonstrate this classic pattern. What about Lisa herself? She hasn't offered a direct statement, but sources say she's grateful for Lenny's support. She's focusing on healing through therapy, meditation, and writing. Recently, she posted an abstract poem to her rarely used social media, referencing finding the voice in echo chambers. Fans read that as a nod to reclaiming her narrative from years of self-silencing. The children's well-being sparks heated debate. Lola and Nakoa Wolf still enjoy joint time with both parents. Insiders claim Lenny's revelations forced a family meeting. Jason allegedly agreed to family counseling, hoping to prove he never intended harm. Skeptics wonder if therapy is genuine accountability or image rehab. Either way, the kids now attend sessions designed for children of high-conflict divorces, where counselors teach them to trust their feelings even if adults dismiss them. That, experts say, is how you break intergenerational cycles of gaslighting. As for Zoe, observers noticed she unfollowed Jason on one social platform the day after Lenny's interview leaked. She still hasn't publicly trashed him, but actions speak volumes. At a recent press junket for her new film, a reporter asked about Lenny's claims. She stared, shook her head gently, and said, "I think my dad said what needed saying." That single sentence traveled across entertainment blogs in minutes, interpreted as a quiet endorsement of Lenny's accusation. Where does this leave Jason Momoa's reputation? On one hand, he remains beloved. Fans cite charity work, his cheerful red carpet demeanor, his environmental activism. On the other, whispers of gaslighting stain the gentle giant persona. PR experts note that emotional abuse allegations are harder to dismiss than rumors of cheating. They speak to character, not just behavior. Jason's next steps could define his legacy. Does he issue a full denial with evidence? Does he acknowledge unintended harm? Thus far, he's chosen partial silence, reiterating love for family without addressing the manipulation claims. Silence, some argue, can read like implication. Remember, gaslighting thrives on unequal power. Jason's global superstardom dwarfed Lisa's low-key career in recent years. According to Lenny, that imbalance allowed Jason to frame her requests for closeness as overblown. It's tricky for outsiders to gauge truth, yet each anecdote Lenny provides fits a pattern. Memory distortion, blame shifting, invalidation of feelings. Viewers, think back to relationships you've seen dissolve. How often did the more charismatic partner paint the quieter one as too sensitive? That's why Lenny's story resonates beyond celebrity drama. It echoes in countless households where one partner's reality is slowly overwritten. Of course, internet culture loves extremes. Already, #TeamLenny and #Justice for Lisa trend alongside #Stand with Jason. Yet, mental health professionals warn against instant tribunals. They advise listening for nuance. Did Jason hold space for Lisa's distress? Did Lisa repeatedly question her own perceptions? Gaslighting allegations deserve measured evaluation, not mob judgment. Still, Lenny's bombshell voices an often hidden harm. In a follow-up radio call-in, he said, "I'm not saying Jason's a monster. I'm saying good people can gaslight without knowing it. Success, ego, non-stop flattery, they can warp anyone. That nuance complicates the narrative." Jason may not have set out to manipulate. Instead, he may have grown accustomed to environments where his needs took priority, leaving Lisa's needs mislabeled as insecurity. If so, healing requires acknowledging unintentional harm, not merely dismissing accusations as jealousy. What happens next? Insiders say Lisa's legal team is revisiting custody wording, ensuring decision-making remains balanced. Jason, for his part, continues filming and publicly smiling. But industry insiders whisper that brands courting his eco-warrior image quietly asked for clarity on emotional abuse rumors. It's a testament to how strongly the gaslighting concept resonates in today's cultural climate. For viewers who once idealized the Bonet Momoa household, Lenny's revelations arrive like a stone through stained glass. The gorgeous images remain, but cracks are now visible. And maybe that's valuable, even comforting. If the perfect family can struggle with manipulation and self-doubt, then everyday couples needn't feel shame acknowledging similar pain. Gaslighting hides in plain sight, propped up by good intentions, charisma, or spiritual rhetoric. Lenny, by pulling the curtain, prompts fans to scrutinize their own relationships. Do you feel crazy for asking basic emotional needs to be met? Does your partner rewrite arguments? If yes, you're not alone, and you deserve validation. By the end of the podcast, the host thanked Lenny for risking backlash to speak uncomfortable truth. Lenny shrugged, saying simply, "Truth sets you free," and Lisa spent years setting others free with her art. She deserves the same. That statement reverberated across comment sections, sparking conversations about silent emotional abuse. Whether Jason responds with evidence or reflection remains to be seen. Regardless, Lenny's allegation has catalyzed a broader dialogue. Therapists on TikTok now analyze past interviews of Jason and Lisa, pointing out subtle patterns of dismissal. Others caution that body language breakdowns can't prove intent. Yet survivors of emotional abuse say Lenny's words feel validating. One viral tweet reads, "Gaslighting isn't just a buzzword. If Lisa Bonet can fall victim, anyone can. Thank you, Lenny, for naming it." Will this family ever reclaim the harmonious public image they once held? Perhaps not in the same polished form. But Lenny hints at a new harmony, rooted less in posed photos and more in raw honesty. He and Lisa, divorced for decades, remain proof that respectful co-parenting is possible after accountability. He hopes Jason learns the same lesson, that admitting hurtful patterns doesn't end love. It can rebuild it on healthier terms, for the kids, for the fans, and, most of all, for the people involved. For now, one thing is certain: gaslighting has entered the public lexicon of this celebrity saga, and it won't disappear until each voice in the Bonet Momoa Kravitz triangle is heard. Whether you side with Lenny's calm accusation or believe Jason's measured denial, the takeaway is clear. Never underestimate the power of subtle words to reshape reality, and never underestimate the courage it takes to call them out. As you process this revelation, consider your own experiences. Have you ever doubted your memory because someone insisted you imagine things? Have you apologized for emotions that were perfectly valid? Share your insights in the comments below. Let's transform gossip into empathy, speculation into awareness. And if Jason issues a response, or if Lisa decides her silence has lasted long enough, subscribe, because we'll be diving straight into it. Truth may hurt, but it also heals, and every new piece of the story brings us closer to understanding how even Hollywood's brightest love stories can flicker under a shadow called gaslighting. For more of the latest news, check out this video.